Close your eyes for me, if you will, and take a deep breath. Clear your mind, let go of today's hectic pace, and let your imagination paint a scene of a dark and stormy ocean day in June. Now, in your mind, turn your head to the left and right, and realize you are standing shoulder to shoulder with young men, average age 19. You are all wearing combat uniforms and holding your rifles in nervous, shaking hands. The salt spray you smell is splashing over the front bow of a cramped and precariously bobbing landing craft, in which 20 of you and your newest comrades are huddled for dear life. The man next to you is mumbling incoherently, and the man in front of you has just thrown up all over the deck, permeating the sweaty air with a new stench. Now you glance up to see a white column of water rise high in the air, followed by the thunderous crack of an explosion. You realize a shell has just missed your boat by mere feet. There really isn't time to ponder the mystery of why, because a whistle has just been blown. Its shrill tone is punctuated by shouting, and the groan of the hull of your boat digging its way into a beach. Normandy Beach. The door slams down, and all around you the sounds of whizzing bullets and explosions threaten to shatter your eardrums. Fear doesn't have time to grip you. Instinct takes over as the man in front of you is torn apart by machine gun fire. Your legs remember to move, and you scramble over limp forms towards the sea. The shock of cold water grips your legs as you struggle to haul heavy gear into the sands. As super-hot fragments of metal pierce the air, you dive behind a steel barricade. It is June 6th. The year is 1944. You have just landed on the shores of Normandy in the greatest invasion in human history. Welcome to D-Day. As the day dragged on, you were lucky enough to crawl your way past fields of razor-sharp barbed wire, snaking your way around massive steel barricades, mines, artillery fire, and relentless German machine gun fire. You found your control point and joined up with waves of surviving allies. Young, brave men from all corners of the countries of the allies stood by your side as a foothold was established. Eventually, armor came ashore, and the greatest invasion in history inched towards German territory. You didn't realize it at the time, but you had survived the onslaught that paved the way for the fall of Nazi Germany, and eventually the end of World War II. Open your eyes now, please, and always remember what you just imagined. The invasion began on June 6th, and according to History.com that day, a staggering 156,000 soldiers spilled out of the ships that carried them and took that 50-mile stretch of the French coastline. Operation Neptune commenced at 6:30 a.m. in the morning and consisted of Allied troops from British, Canadian, American, and Free French forces. It was the largest amphibious assault in history, with a fleet of over 5,000 ships carrying 195,000 naval personnel. Prior to the naval assault, an airborne attack occurred earlier at 12:30 in the morning. The assault managed to get 24,000 troops behind the enemy lines and proved instrumental to the beginning of the attack. It's difficult to convey truly the magnitude of the defenses that the German military mounted and the logistical feat that was required to pull off the attack. Opposing this colossal force was German Field Marshal Erwin Rommel. Due to the increasing pressure from Soviet troops on the Eastern Front, the forces defending Normandy were not elite troops. Rather, they were a collection of volunteers from other outlying countries. Had this not been the case, the invasion of Normandy would most likely have been a failure, according to one analysis from Helium.com. To prepare for the invasion, General Dwight D. Eisenhower decided to break up the attack into 5 different zones. The beaches were designated Juno, Sword, Utah, Gold, and Omaha. British and Canadian forces landed on Gold, Juno, and Sword. American troops disgorged at Omaha and Utah. They faced high cliffs and embankments above them, where German defenses had built a series of bunkers with high-caliber machine guns, weapons, and artillery. As you can see in this diagram from Encyclopedia Britannica.com, the landing craft containing the troops also had to contend with submerged posts, which, along with rails and Belgian gates, were designed to stop tanks and anything in their path. According to Wikipedia.com, Juno Beach's defenses were by far the heaviest of any of the landing zones. German commanders suspected a landing there, and therefore created a line of beach obstacles consisting of metal posts, submerged entrapments, and wooden poles. Machine gun positions, anti-tank and anti-personnel were set up and manned at every 1,000 yards, creating deadly overlapping fields of fire. 500,000 mines were scattered everywhere, providing a true hell on earth from which the only escape was to beat back the Germans or die. Casualties were high, and as WarChronicle.com will attest in The Cost of Blood, the American forces bore the brunt of the valiant effort. The British at Sword landed 28,000 men and lost 630. At Gold Beach, 24,000 British troops landed, suffering 413 losses. Juno was attacked by combined British and Canadian soldiers. One entire division landed there, with thankfully only 1,204 dead. The carnage was heaviest at Omaha and Utah. Omaha landed 43,000 troops with 2,000 dead, and Utah landed 30,000 troops, with luckily only 197 casualties. Dwight D. Eisenhower, on the eve of the invasion, sent this message to the brave men who fought that day. I paraphrase for you now some of his words that inspired those men. You are about to embark upon the great crusade, towards which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. Your task will not be an easy one. The enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, battle-hardened, and he will fight savagely. I have full confidence in your courage and devotion to duty and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us beseech the blessings of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking. Close your eyes once more as I take you back to that beach. The once blood-stained sands are pristine. The bodies of the fallen that floated in the tide have all been given their final rest. The barricades are gone, as are the machine gun nests that cut down so many brave souls. Bunkers and embankments now sit silently beside graves. Gone too are the fires of man's hatred that consumed Europe and required such a noble sacrifice of so many. We live in peace now, a fragile peace paid for in precious blood. It is up to each of you to carry in your hearts and memory the event that transpired on June 6, 1944. D-Day must always be honored and never allowed to become a simple footnote of fact in a dusty history book. For we do so at our own peril. Let us never, ever forget. Thank you.
Pan the audience. Very good. Keep panning. That's good.